Very good morning to all. In the previous class, we have started with the embryology. Okay? It's the study of formation and growth and development of the fertilized ovum, that is a zygote. How the baby they get developed, what is the growth of baby, that is the study, and that is science is known as the embryology. Here we will continue with the changes in the uterus. Okay, Decidua, that is the endometrium of the pregnant uterus. Okay. It is different from the non-pregnant endometrium because there are physiological changes in that, and there is increased secretion of estrogen and progesterone at the time of the pregnancy. Estrogen they will help for the growth of the endometrium. They increase the thickness of the endometrium. Next, progesterone. Progesterone they form the corpus luteum and they mostly work for the blood supply to the uterus and the developing fetus. Three areas of decidua, if you remember, decidua capsularis, decidua basalis, and decidua vera. First, basalis, that is between the blastocysts and uterine muscles, and they will form the placenta. Capsularis means capsule means overlies the blastocyst, and last there is a vera, there is rest of the uterine cavity. Next, the developments of the fertilized ovum. There is a three trophoblastic cells are there: outer syncytial trophoblast, inner cytotrophoblast, and a primitive mesenchymal or mesodermal cells. These all three cells will form a different structures. First, syncytial trophoblast they form the blood vessels of the residua, means they are mostly working for the blood supplies. Next one, inner cytotrophoblastic cells. The cytotrophoblastic cells they will help to produce the HCG hormone, that is human chorionic gonadotropin. Okay, it is mostly the hormone which is responsible that the pregnancy has begun. If you remember that the UPT, urine pregnancy test is available, and that is also on the basis of this hormone. Okay, so if the pregnancy is there, then there is a continuous production of estrogen and progesterone will be there, and the high level of estrogen they will suppress the production of FSH, so there will be no further follicular development. Next is mesenchymal cells. They are called the choriones. Next we have seen the inner cell ones. Okay, while the trophoblast developed from the placenta, and the inner cell mass they will help to develop the fetal, means fetal organs will be developed from inner cell mass, and from the trophoblast placenta will be developed. There are three types of layers: ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. From these three, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm, different structures of the fetus will be developed. First, ectoderm, they will form a central peripheral nervous system and the epidermis layer. Second, endoderm, they will help to form the dermis, skeletal, connective tissues, vascular, urogenital systems, most muscular and skeletal system. And last, mesodermal, they form the internal organs like liver, pancreas, blood vessels, and some of the bones and the muscles. These all three, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesodermal, they will term as embryonic plate. As the development continues, the two cavity appears in the inner cell mass, one on either side of the embryonic plate. Means this three layers, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesodermal, they are formed together known as embryonic plate. And around these embryonic plates, there are two different cavities will be formed. And these are termed as amniotic cavity and the yolk cell. In the amniotic cavity, the baby will be there, the amniotic fluids will be there. Differentiation of endoderm, ectoderm, and the formation of amniotic cavity and the yolk. This is diagram. This is the inner cell mass. This is endodermal layer, that is ectodermal layers. This is the yolk sac, cavity of the blastocyst. This is known as the amniotic cells, and the cavity which is formed, that is known as amniotic cavity. Formation of extra amniotic mesoderm and the composition of amnion and the chorion. Means two layers will be there, amnion and the chorion. This is amniotic cavity and this one is the embryonic disc. Okay, here is the embryonic cavity. These future connective structures will be there. This is amnion and chorion, two layers, secondary yolk sac, trophoblastic cells, plycopneumatic and somatoplasmatic extraembryonic mesodermal cells. Okay. Now, amniotic cavity is lie on the side of the ectoderm. Means where is the amniotic cavity? It is on the side of the ectoderm. It is filled with fluid and they gradually enlarge to develop the embryo. Means the development of the baby or embryo that is inside this amniotic cavity. The fluid which is accumulated in this cavity, that is known as amniotic fluids. And when there is a growth of the baby, there will be increase the size of the amniotic cavity or enlargement of the amniotic cavity will be there. The amnion forms its lining. The yolk sac, it lies on the side of the ectoderm and provides the nourishment for the embryo. The yolk, means if you remember the yolk in the egg, then it is very nutritious. So here also the yolk sac will provide the nourishment to the embryo till the trophoblast is sufficiently developed to take over the function. Means when the trophoblastic cells will be developed, when the placenta will be developed, then they will carry out all the functions for the baby's growth. But till that, the yolk sac will provide the nourishment. Part of it forms the primitive guts and the remainder the atrophies under the amnion on the surface of the placenta. Okay. Some parts they will help to form the primitive guts and the rest others they form the they undergo the atrophy. Here you can see that primitive streak is there. This is ectoderm, this is a mesodermal cells, this is amniotic cavity, yolk sac cavity will be there, and inner layer endoderm. The embryo, the developing offspring is termed as embryo until 8 weeks after the implantation. Means when the zygote is formed, then before that it is ovum. But when the zygote is formed, then it is known as the embryo. Till the 8 weeks after the implantation. Means 2 to 8 weeks it will be known as the embryo. During this period, all the organs and systems of the body they are laid down in the rudimentary form. Means a small structures will be formed, that is rudimentary form, but they are not mature and they are not properly grow, and they furtherly grow and mature in the next months. After 8 weeks until the term, the conceptus is known as the fetus. Here you must be clear about the three terms, that is ovum, embryo and the fetus. Ovum, that is a unfertilized ovum, that is known as the ovum. Next, embryo, when the fertilization is there till 8 weeks it is known as the embryo. Then after 8 weeks till the delivery is there, it is known as the fetus. The embryonic period is roughly the period of life from the second through 7th week after the fertilization. That's only the duration the second to 7th week, that is embryonic period. At the time of implantation, the embryo that is known as bilaminar embryo because the embryonic disc arising from the inner cell mass, they have two layers of the cells. That's two layers that are embryonic ectoderm and embryonic endoderm. Why this is known as bilaminar? Because it has two distinct layers of the cells. Now embryonic endoderm. It is the first of the three germ layers from which all the tissue, that is bone, muscles, connective tissue, skin, organs and structures will be derived. The structures such as fetal membrane, the umbilical cord, part of placenta will be formed from this layer, that is embryonic endoderm. Next, second layer, that is from the beginning of the third week. The primitive stalk, they are arising from the embryonic. During the third week, the neural tube, that is a rudiments of brain and spinal cords, notochords, they are rudiments of vertebra, coulombic spaces, that is rudiments of body cavity and primitive blood cells will be developed. So what will be developed in the third week? That are uh, neural tube, rudiments of the brain and spinal cords, notochords, they are for the vertebra, coulombic space for the body cavities, and primitive blood cells will be developed. The heart starts to beat at the beginning of the fourth week, means when sonography is done, it is either abdominal or transvaginal. If 4 weeks is there, then the baby's heartbeat, fetus heartbeat can be seen. During the fourth week, the longitudinal and transverse folding of the embryonic disc takes place. Longitudinal folding, they involves head fold and tail folds and convert the embryo from the straight to curved form. And transverse folding, right to left transverse folds towards the midline converts the embryo from flat to a cylindrical form. So remember these two foldings at the fourth week, longitudinal and transverse. Due to the longitudinal, the embryo will be converted from straight to curved. Due to transverse, it will convert it from flat to a cylindrical form. And by the end of the fourth week, the embryo has assumed that it is called salamander loop. Salamander loop, that is like a monkey shape, and it has rudiments of ear, arms, legs, face, and neck structures. During the fifth week, rapid development of the brain, it results in extensive growth of head. Once at the fifth week, there is a growth and development of the fetus, head will be there, and it will be larger in rest of the body. Means the head will be greater or the diameters will be large. Development takes place from cephalic to caudal, means cephal, that is a brain. With the development of the legs almost a week behind the development with lens, vesicles, optic curves, and retinal pigmentations. These are the structure of the eyes. During the sixth week, nose, mouth, palate begins to take form and eyelids they become visible. Arms and legs undergo extensive development, and by the end of 7 weeks, arms and legs are formed with clearly defined fingers and toes. During the 7th week, the neck region is established and the abdomen is less protuberance and urogenital development will begin. The external ears, they are evident although they are not fully developed. And the end of 7 week has distinctly human characteristics. Means you can identify that this is our baby of the human being. The end of the 7 week, it also marks the end of the embryonic period, because after the 7 week there is the starting of the fetal period. So that is all essential internal and external organs they are formed during this embryological period. They undergo further elaboration and growth, including the replacement of cartilage with the bone cells. The embryonic period is a critical period during which, if any teratogen will be there, like drugs, X-ray, viruses, it may be lethal, deadly, or it can cause a very congenital defects to a baby. So this is all about the embryology. So this topic is over. If you have any doubt, you can ask, but read it very carefully. Then only you can understand it.